Lauren Whitehurst. I'm a certified personal trainer and certified nutrition coach.
Hi, I'm Sunny Lippincott. I'm a certified professional life coach and a certified brain health professional. And together we make Whole Life Vitality.
We teach whole life vitality of the mind, body, and soul, bringing the physical, emotional, and spiritual together for whole life wellness. Welcome back, friends.
Welcome.
Oh my goodness, it has been a minute.
I know.
We took the summer off. I hope that you had an amazing summer, but we definitely needed the break to be with our families.
Absolutely.
So that was necessary for us, but we would love to hear how your summers were. If you want to send us a message or drop a comment below, we'd love to hear about it.
And I really appreciate, multiple people reached out to me and said, hey, am I missing your podcast? Yeah. Because I haven't seen any new episodes. And so that just touched my heart. And I said, well, it's coming, our season 2. This is season 2.
That's right.
Welcome to season 2.
That's
but
right.
I would let them know, hey, we're going to start back, in the fall and when school starts. So it's still a million degrees where we live, but school has started. So here's part 2.
Although it is maybe technically fall, I would say fall hits lower Alabama sometime in like December, yes. Maybe like right before Christmas,
The trees are green and then all of a sudden they're dead.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah,
fall.
basically. That sounds about right. Yeah.
But thanks for reaching out. And we are really happy to be back.
We are.
Feels good.
So, Sunny, what did you want to talk about today?
Okay. So that you guys basically are here just walking through our lives with us. So when things happen to us, they happen so that you can hear all about it.
Yeah, we're doing life together. We assume that our struggles are kind of universal struggles.
Absolutely. So a little backstory on me. If you have never taken an Enneagram test, I love taking tests that teach me about myself. And so since I am a life coach, I've had to take multiple personality tests. And that's one that I take. And it's just kind of a fun, I don't really use that in my practice, but it is kind of fun to show you a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm a 6, and a 6 is a loyalist. And that means, in essence, I'm going to give you the short version. My people are my people.
Don't mess with the people.
Don't mess with my people. I don't care if you want to, get upset with me. But when you come after my people, my people are in their once you're in my circle, you're in it. Unless you remove yourself out of it.
Which is fair.
Yes. I don't kick them. You remove yourself. Yeah. And so I kind of had that happen with friendship a few months back. And it kind of sent me twirling, because that's detrimental to a 6, is when a friendship is kind of altered or severed. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I can hold a grudge. I can hold a grudge.
Isn't it so funny, those moments of awareness that we get, even in our 40s, okay? We're we're this far into life.
Yeah.
I thought I knew myself pretty well. Mm-hmm. And then something hits you and you're like, oh, hello. I guess that's something I need to work on.
Yeah. And I went running to my husband and I said, do you know what I've learned about myself? I hold a grudge. And he just looked at me with this most plain face and said, you didn't know that?
You're like, thanks, babe.
Not, he said something.
At least he was nice about it.
He's like, Sonny, when somebody is out, they are out. He said, you will hold on to that for forever. It will go to the grave with you. And I said, yeah, that's not a great thing though. And that's what's great about learning about yourself, is that you get to learn about the positives and the things that you really that can help you in life. But then you also get to learn about the things that really might be holding you back.
Yeah.
And through this, what feels like something that's very difficult. It was very difficult for me. My relationships are important. And so it kind of knocked me down and took me out. Tears were shed over this.
Oh, for sure. I have cried so many tears over friendships.
Were shed over this. And I kind of took it to God, kind of took it to God, you know. The prayers were more like, let them see what they did.
Yeah. You're like, all right, God, can you just tell them that what they did wasn't okay?
Yeah,
and you put them in timeout for a little bit.
Help them to see the error of their ways, you know? And I realized I thought I had forgiven.
Yeah.
Until a little while later, something came back up and I had a visceral reaction to it. And I didn't like that. I said
good.
something negative about that person to their friend.
Yeah.
And I realized that made me feel like junk. I felt awful for that. And I was driving home and I said, man, I thought I had forgiven him. I didn't forgive him. I was holding a grudge.
Healing is not linear. It is not a direct line. It is kind of an up and down and all over the place.
Yeah.
So maybe you are healing. But
Healing.
you're not healed.
I was not healed.
That's right.
And I realized that I really hadn't done a very good job of actively healing either.
Okay.
So I got into this mode of, I wonder who else might be holding a grudge, holding something in, unforgiveness. You know, even a grudge kind of, you know, refer to unforgiveness. Has someone done something to you? Has a family member, a friend, a coworker, you know, a pastor even, because they're humans, you know, someone in the church, someone that you kind of felt close to, have they done something?
Because the people who are closest to us are the ones that can hurt us, cut us the deepest. Yeah. My parents had this, this poster hanging up in the bathroom. So of course I saw it all the time. And it was of hands holding tar. And it said, a grudge, pass it on. And you're passing tar from person to person to person, and how it leaves this like residue on everyone.
That's a fantastic like visual.
Yep.
Because it does.
Yeah. It affects everybody.
You want people to feel what you feel. You want to be with someone else.
Yep.
You don't want to do it by yourself.
Yep. Misery loves company.
Absolutely. So I wanted to know, you know, are you holding on to something?
Yeah.
Because what we don't realize is that we think it's all just emotions, and that's, nobody can see it. It's not hurting anyone. It's just sitting there. It's actually doing physical damage to you.
And is eating you away on the inside.
Yes. So I wanted to tell you a couple of things. I've got some notes here on what holding a grudge, the negative effects of it. Increased cortisol levels.
Cortisol.
Yeah. Yes.
Stress hormone.
Yes.
Stress
yes.
hormone that helps us hold on to belly fat, which I know not many people are inclined to want to hold on to belly fat.
Yes.
So there's that.
So it weakens your immune system, increases your blood pressure, and that leads to weight gain.
Yay.
Just from holding a grudge. Cardiovascular issues, high blood pressure, and it affects your heart health.
Yep.
I mean, really.
Holding a grudge would be stress.
Yes.
And any additional, that type of stress is harmful in every aspect.
Yes. So constant negative emotions that you're having, it suppresses your immune system, making you susceptible to infections, colds, and illnesses.
No, thank you. Not interested.
No.
I'll opt out of that one.
Slower healing. Your body's going to take longer to heal from injuries and illness because you're holding on to resentment. It's trying to work towards healing that part of you. And so it can't give all of its attention to the things that it needs to fight.
Have you ever gotten sick and then been resentful?
Yes.
Because
you're sick? Yes.
I don't think I ever put that together until just now.
Yes.
That vicious cycle would then feed itself.
Yes.
I'm angry that I'm sick, that I have to put off things that I want to do or that I would normally get to do or that I need to do. And so then I'm resentful of then maybe myself and or the people who aren't picking up the slack or who I feel like pushed me, not that they actually did because I can take personal responsibility, but who pushed me to this point where then now I am sick.
Yeah. And so
then,
it's actually
and then it slows
keeping
down
you
the
from
healing.
healing.
Huh, lovely.
you learn something. Sleep disturbances. It causes fatigue and insomnia.
Which would then cause weakened immune system.
It fuels anxiety, sadness, hopelessness, and can contribute to the development of anxiety disorders or depression.
Because continued grudge holding or resentment or, those negative emotions build up.
Yeah, because it's constantly replaying the hurtful event. Mm-hmm. It's making that every time we think a thought, we strengthen it.
Yep.
So every time you relive what they said, what they did to you, you're strengthening that. And it's just sitting there and getting stronger and actually producing all of these really negative things inside your body.
And then we search for that thought bias.
Yeah.
So then things around us to confirm what we're telling ourselves. So we're like, I knew that person was a bad person. They're a mean person because look, they did this or they said that to that person.
Yeah. You can look at them and they have a face. They might be unscrewing a jar and they make this face, but they're making it at you.
They could just be constipated. Okay. Let's be fair here, right? Like it could have nothing to do with you, likely has nothing to do with you.
Yes. So, but because of that thought bias, we're going to look into our world and just confirm what we're feeling and base around, everything. So all of those things happen to us. These are real. Look them up.
Yeah.
You can check this. This is all real.
Yep.
Real scientific backed evidence of what holding a grudge does to you. And you thought that it just, you were just keeping inside. They did that to me. And so it's not my fault. They did it. Mm-hmm. And whatever. It's not, I don't want this. I don't want this feeling, but I'm going to sit there and wait for them to apologize. Well, what you're doing is you're just agreeing to have insomnia, high stress, possibly taking the path to, heart disease.
Well, I don't know about you, but as a recovering people pleaser, I then sit in guilt because then I feel guilty because what was my part in the situation? Did I actually do something wrong? Here I am still feeling bad, and then I start feeling bad for feeling bad.
Right. Yeah. So I started researching all that and said, well, if that's not like push for me to work through this, I don't know what is, because I don't want any of that. I coach against that.
Do you value your health, Sunny?
Yeah.
Did you want to just like live in this flu-ridden land and get nice and sick with everybody else?
I'm 41. Yeah. I don't want increased aging. I want the opposite. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm listening. What do I do?
Yep.
So, here's the deal. You know what the very first thing they'll tell you to do when you're holding a grudge?
Oh, hang on. Let me guess. Gratitude.
Well, that's on the list.
Okay. Not the first thing though.
Acknowledge your feelings.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep.
Instead of just sitting there and
Validate.
saying, this is what they did to me. Acknowledge your feelings.
Anger is a secondary emotion.
Yes.
So if you're feeling angry with them, which generally if we're holding a grudge, we are.
Yes.
Then do you feel sad?
Yeah.
Did you feel unseen? Did you feel unheard? Did you feel neglected? Did you feel like what is that feeling underneath that anger? Because there's always something deeper.
And they want you to realize that it is a grudge.
Yeah.
Like they said, acknowledge your feelings, go through it just like you did, and then ask yourself, am I holding on to this? Because feeling it is one thing, but reliving it is what causes the damage.
When I start digging with the client, I'm working with the client and they're angry about something and we dig a little deeper to try and find what that emotion is. Then I'm like, when was the last time you felt that? Or the first time that you felt that? And so is this perhaps a trigger that's pulling up past trauma that maybe has nothing to do with this particular interaction at all?
Yeah.
But it's just you dealing with unhealed issues from your past.
Yes, 100%. And the next thing is to pray for guidance. Because you recognize that there's a problem, that you're holding on to a grudge. And the next step is, God, I realize now what I'm holding in my heart. Help me to understand what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling it. What is it really about? What is it really about? And help me to understand them, which leads into the number 3 is realize that they are a person too.
Yeah.
And try to understand from a different perspective.
Oh man. Oh, empathy is just,
that's it.
The great equalizer, isn't it?
Empathy. They, and you have to pray for that.
Yeah.
Because it's not always easy, especially the level of hurt that you're feeling. So you need to take it and say, I can't do it on my own strength, but I can, God, with your help. Can you give me the ability to step outside of myself and see the situation from another human? They're just human.
Yeah.
They can make mistakes too. Can I see it from their perspective? And can you give me, please, the power of, an empathetic spirit?
Well, and this is a cast the first stone moment. Like none of us are without fault. I know that I'm sure that I have said things that have hurt people before. I would like to think that it was unintentional, but let's be fair. I might have said some intentional things that were hurtful.
Right.
And I'm sure we all have.
Yes.
And so none of us are without fault. And if I want forgiveness, if I want people to not hold a grudge against me, isn't it only fair then that I would not hold a grudge against them?
That's beautiful. Yes. 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 Seek reconciliation. And I want you to pay close attention to this because you might be that person that's listening to this podcast and there might be boundaries set up between you and the person that has hurt you.
Yeah.
There might be a no contact there and you say, Sonny, this isn't for me because I can't, reach out to this person. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But first, if this was a friend, if this was someone, a friend or a family member that you were close to, that you were having, pretty common contact with, this isn't your, I've set a boundary because this person is, I've agreed, me and God, that this is not okay. I can't allow this in my life. That's we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is for the person that you did have a relationship with them.
Yeah, we'll assume it's someone that your kids go to school with, or you go to church with, or maybe you work together, or they're a cousin or a family member.
Absolutely.
And you see them regularly.
This is when you really pray and say, would it be beneficial to have an open and respectful conversation with this person? Am I ready for that? Maybe it's a step with just writing them a note, writing them a card, sending them a card, and even asking if that's, if we could have that. Sometimes they don't even know what they did or how you're feeling. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they do. But is this one of those times that God is telling you to put your ego aside and to actually have a communicative, talk and with them, a respectful talk,
and lead with grace and humility?
Yes.
Not you did me dirty.
Yes.
You're wrong, but hey, this is how I'm feeling. And maybe think, would I want to receive this note in the mail?
Yes.
Would I want someone to approach me this way if the tables were turned? I always try to flip it back around and read whatever I've written from the perspective of the person who's going to receive it.
Yes.
Because if I'm reading it and it sounds snarky to my ears,
yes.
maybe it's time to rewrite.
Absolutely. And then, as Lauren said, gratitude. When you are in that mode that you're so angry you can't even pray, that's when you start with, the gratitude. You just start listing the things in your life that you're so thankful for, that God has blessed you with, that just bring you so much joy, so that you can shift that emotion over to a thankful heart and then begin the process, because you can't do it from being closed off. So allow yourself to release the tension in your body and have that time of gratitude, opening yourself up to, okay, now let's work through this process. And finally, Lauren has said this before and I love it. This is for the people that, you're holding on to something, but you have set a boundary with the person. Like it's not an option for you to have that talk right now. Forgiveness is for you.
Yep.
It is not for them. And Lauren has said this about the poison. Say it, Lauren.
Oh, well, being angry with someone, not forgiving someone is like drinking poison and hoping the other person will die.
There you go. I love that. I love that so
because
much.
All of those things that you just told us about, all of the things that this grudge does to our body would be the equivalent of taking poison.
Yes. Yes.
Your body is deteriorating.
And you're wanting them to hurt. Mm-hmm. But in essence, you're just hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So this is when you pray for forgiveness within you.
Yep.
This is not like I have to tell them, I have to reach out to them. This is praying for yourself, for your spirit, for your soul, that you can control what you can control. And what I can control is that I am asking for forgiveness for them within myself.
And it doesn't mean that what was done was okay.
No, you're not saying that 100%. Thank you for that clarification.
My abuser passed away.
Yes.
And I mean, I know my level of healing when he passed, because let me tell you, I was not sad that day.
Right. Right.
And I wasn't sad because not because I was still angry.
Right.
Because I felt like I had kind of worked through a lot of it, but I was happy because I felt like there was finally justice.
Yes.
In that my solace with him here was there was never justice. He was never incarcerated for what he did or had any kind of negative repercussions, really. So I was like, that's okay, because I believe in an afterlife where there is justice,
right? Where
things will balance out. But at the same time, I picture him in that afterlife and think, what about me? Mm-hmm. What about when I get there?
Yeah.
And I know that there will be justice for me, but I would also want grace.
Yes.
And being able to see that for me and know that I want that grace helps me want that for him.
Yes. And so you could get to the point that the forgiveness is within you.
Right.
So it's within you. You're not saying that what he did was okay. It wasn't okay.
It will never
be okay.
And I will always wish that it didn't happen.
Right. And abuse, any type of abuse, it's never okay. Mm-hmm. And when you take that step towards forgiveness for them, you are never saying that it's okay that they did what they did. Yeah. And honestly, the way that God has, the way that God has designed us, you will pay for it even on earth with all kinds of things within yourself. Well, and when you do things like that.
Okay, so if that's how a grudge affects our bodies,
yes,
imagine what guilt does to our bodies. And whether it is subconscious guilt or it's right there at the forefront of your mind, it is deteriorating your body.
So in essence, just understanding that we forgive because we were forgiven.
Yep.
We love because we were first loved. So the forgiveness is there because of what Jesus Christ did for us. That's why we choose to forgive. We are not saying it's okay, like that you did what you did, that your actions, hurt someone physically, sexually, mentally, emotionally. It's not what we're saying. We're saying we forgive because we are followers of Christ, because he forgave us. That is why we were forgiving, and we are choosing freedom.
Yeah. And because I don't want to be bound by that discomfort. I don't want to be bound by this tie of being angry with you anymore. I read this verse, because I prayed. I said, God, help me to apply these, and just lead me, just lead and guide me. And the next day I got up and I read through the Bible. I've been doing it since January. And my Bible verse, was 1 Corinthians. It was chapter 4, verses 12 through 13. And I was just stunned by it because God answered me, and he answered me in such
a simple, terminology. It's not easy, but it was a simple answer. 1 Corinthians 4:12-13. When we are cursed, we bless. When we are persecuted, we endure it. And when we are slandered, we answer kindly. So in essence, what he was saying is, I don't control and I can't control what other people do or how I'm treated. But what I can absolutely control is my response to it.
Yeah.
And so I can choose to, when I have those thoughts come up in my head and, I want to remember what was done to me, I can immediately say, no, I can bless and I can pray for that person. In that moment, I can pray for that person. And when someone, maybe comes at me, I can answer in kind. I can choose to not be responsive and to take a moment, pause, either remove myself from the situation or answer in kindness. So he really let me know that I was feeling out of control. This grudge was making me feel so out of control. But with him, I actually have the control and I have the ability within me to work through this.
And it's not going to happen overnight.
No.
It's going to take time and it's going to take practice. You think of how long you've been sitting in that grudge, how long you've been digging those neural pathways for yourself. You're probably deep in that rut, right? But with practice, you can pull yourself out of that and start creating new thought patterns that will ultimately lead you down a different path, a path that's healthier and happier and so much more peaceful.
Because that's what this podcast is all about, is to give you applicable steps to basically restore your hope.
Yep.
To let you know that it's not okay. And you don't have to choose to continue to live in fear, anxiousness, misery, all of those things. There are ways to work through it, but it's work.
Yep.
And just like Lauren said, and I'm so glad that she added that it is a process and it does not happen overnight. It hasn't happened for me overnight. I'm not all the way through it yet. I'm not. It's still there and I still have to do these things, but I'm choosing to do these things because I don't want to hold a grudge. I don't want it to be there. So I am actively pursuing the surgery to get it out.
It took me 20 plus years.
Yes.
It can take time. Give yourself grace to let it take the time that it needs to heal.
Do some open heart surgery on yourself.
That's right. That's right. It's okay. Thank you, Sunny.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Guys, we love that you are here. We love that you join us here each week. We love that you get to participate here. Remember that this is not the only place we are. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are on Facebook. We are on your social media platforms. You can listen to us wherever wherever podcasts are streamed. So find us, reach out. We love connecting with you. And we're excited to see you next time.
Yep.
Bye, friend.
Bye.